Exposed, 7 spine-chilling true horror tales of forbidden secrets, and eerie unexplained encounters in the seemingly picture-perfect town of Maplewood, a darkness brews beneath the surface, hidden behind white picket fences and meticulously manicured lawns. Emma Johnson, a bright and determined 16-year-old, is about to embark on a chilling journey that will shake her very understanding of family, history, and the haunting consequences of ambition. It all starts innocently enough, but the whispers of Maplewood have secrets, and they are ready to be uncovered. While rummaging through the attic one rainy afternoon, Emma stumbles upon an old, dusty box. Inside lies her mother's childhood diary, its leather cover cracked, pages yellowed yet filled with cryptic drawings and inked thoughts. The moment Emma flips the first page, a shiver runs down her spine. The words pulse with an energy that tastes of something sinister. The diary hints at a family curse, one tied to the very spirit of their suburban dream. Shadows lurk at the edges of the garden, and the gentle laughter of children turns eerie as if mocking their joy. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Emma reveals each page, her heart races. There's talk of a malevolent spirit that thrives on their successes, each accolade, each glowing report card an offering to an unseen force lurking in the dark. Odd occurrences ripple through Maplewood, houses that shiver with whispers at twilight, children who stare too long at the shadows, friends who recoil at the thought of staying late. Tension fills the air like a heavy mist, and fear seeps into community gatherings like a slow poison. With her friends rallying at her side, Emma realizes they must confront the ominous truth buried deep in their streets. Each revelation feels like a weight pressing against her chest, yet an ember of courage ignites within her. Could the warmth of their ambitions shatter the chains of a forgotten curse? Or would facing the darkness mean embracing a heritage of dread? As night approaches, they gather nervous, trembling, but determined. All eyes wide with fear and resolve, they decide to seek the ancestral site hidden in the dark, tangled woods beyond their homes. The atmosphere thickens with tension as they walk, the air crackling with an ominous electricity. Just as the ancient roots come into view, a rumble echoes from the depths of the forest. A thunderous roar that sends chills down their spines freezes them in place, hearts racing with panic. Did they agitate the dark being that haunts them? Or could there be hope in confronting what was once buried? With the darkness pressing in and uncertainty clutching at their hearts, Emma stands at the precipice of a choice. Will they confront the family legacy that binds them, or will they break free to carve their own path, even if it means unraveling their idealized lives forever? The answers lie in the shadows, waiting. The woods loomed ahead, gnarled branches twisting into unnatural shapes against the night sky. Emma swallowed hard, feeling a knot tighten in her stomach. The rustling leaves whispered warnings, ancient secrets lost to time. Her friends' eyes flickered with fear, reflecting the ghostly light of the moon. They shivered, drawn together like moths to a flame, and yet terrified of what they might find. "I don't like this," Jenna murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe we should turn back." Emma shook her head. "No. We can't. We need to know what's out there." Stepping forward, she felt the weight of her family's history pressing down on her, urging her onward. With a group steeled for what's ahead, they pushed deeper into the thicket. Twisting roots snaked underfoot like trying to grasp their ankles, pulling them back into the shadows, begging them to leave. Suddenly, a loud snap echoed through the silence. Everyone halted, hearts pounding. They exchanged nervous glances, each one pleading for the comfort of a brave smile that failed to materialize. From within the darkness, a low growl emerged. It reverberated off the trees, an animalistic sound that didn't belong to any natural creature. The air thickened, almost choking them. Emma's breath hitched. Her instincts screamed to run, but she needed answers. Emma Max's voice broke through the panic. What if it knows we're here? What if it doesn't he want us? Emma countered, terror racing through her veins, her resolve faltering for a brief flicker. Still, an unshakable desire to confront the truth rooted her to the spot. Then they heard it. A shrill laugh, echoing from somewhere deep in the woods, a sound that twisted in on itself like a sardonic joke. It sent a jolt of ice running through them all. Please tell me we're not the punchline, Janet's voice quivered. Before Emma could reply, a figure suddenly emerged from behind the trunks, an outline flickering in and out of focus. The silhouette had an otherworldly quality. The laughter continued, growing louder, more menacing. Jenna cried out, backing away as the apparition wandered closer. What is that? Emma felt the thrill of an answer hitting her like a tidal wave. The spirit. It's looking for someone. With a horrified gasp, she remembered the diary describing a bond to family, a summoning rather than a curse. If ambitions fed it, could uncovering their secrets quench its thirst for energy? Could they face what it demanded and finally reveal the family ties that had kept them shackled? In a moment of reckless bravery, Emma stepped forward with newfound determination. What do you want? She shouted into the darkness, a challenge burning in her chest. The figure halted, its form shifting as if debating whether to step into the light. What if this was it? Their moment to bridge the past with the present? But suddenly the laughter transformed into a deafening roar. The air exploded with energy, making the ground tremble beneath her feet. The shadows around them amplified, closing in, suffocating them in a palpable dread. Emma, get back! Max yelled, but it was too late. As a blinding flash of light erupted from the depths of the forest, illuminating the grotesque figure for a brief instant, Emma's mind raced. Was it a warning or something worse? The truth surged forward, tearing through the veil of safety she had known. Before Emma could comprehend, she felt the currents of the past tugging at her, pulling her closer to the edge of something vast and terrifying. With each heartbeat, she sensed the looming presence readying itself to claim them all, and then silence. In the eerie stillness that followed, Emma could feel every eye on her, hearts pounding as they awaited her next move. What choice would she make? Would they leap into the fray, into the unknown darkness ahead, or retreat, leaving whispers of their family's legacy unanswered? What now? Came the frightened question from behind her. The reply hung in the air as the woods rustled ominously again, the discordant laughter echoing one last time, causing chills to cascade down Emma's spine. In that moment, the weight of her family's history wore heavy on her shoulders. Who would come out unscathed? Turning, she grasped Max's hand tight, ready to plunge into the heart of the chaos. But as they advanced, a shadowed figure crept into view, a familiar face among the night. And with it, the haunting truth of their family's past began to unveil itself. Emma's pulse raced as the familiar figure stepped closer, the shadow flickering like a flame in the wind. It was her grandmother, or at least, the ghostly visage of her. Emma's heart plummeted into her stomach. How was this possible? Her grandmother had always shared family tales, even recounting some dark histories about the woods. But standing there now, looking frail and shadowed, the warmth of those stories felt twisted in this moment. Emma, the apparition called, its voice strained, echoing like a whisper lost in the howling wind. Max squeezed Emma's hand tighter. Is that really her? I don't know, Emma breathed, her mind racing. The laughter from earlier still echoed in her mind, mingling with a strange sense of dread. Was this a warning or a plea? Why have you come? The spectre continued, its figure rippling, seemingly battling against the very air around it. You must not disturb the balance? Emma asked, voice trembling, fighting against the whirlwind of emotions crippling her. What balance? What do you mean? The ghostly figure shifted, sorrow flooding her features. Secrets buried deep. They must remain hidden or the darkness will consume you. Jenna gasped, her eyes darting around as if the shadows themselves would leap out. Do we even have a choice? Emma's throat felt dry. The weight of generations pressed against her chest. She'd come for answers, but had the answers come to claim them instead? What darkness? Emma whispered, desperation shoving the words from her mouth. What are you trying to protect us from? The figure's expression darkened. The spirit, it feeds on fear and chaos. It desires what we have lost, the truth hidden in bloodlines. You've disturbed it, and now an icy wind whipped through the trees, carrying a chill that cut through to her bones. The shadows pulsated, and suddenly, the laughter returned, louder, mocking, echoing through the night. Max's hand grew colder as he squeezed, grounding her against the growing tide of terror. From the depths of the woods, a shape began to take form again, a creature made of darkness, eyes burning like coals, edges slick like oil, reflecting the moon's glow. Emma's heart pounded so loud she could barely hear the tangled words of warning spilling from her grandmother's ghost. "You must see the truth," the apparition choked out. "Only then can you break the chains." Before Emma could respond, the creature lunged forward with a terrifying speed, racing through the shadows toward them. Panic erupted within the group. Screams broke the stillness, echoing against the trunks surrounding them. "Run!" Max shouted, pulling Emma back as they staggered to retreat. Jenna's screams intertwined with the gnawing laughter, their reality warping around them. "Where is the truth?" Emma cried, but the ghostly figure lingered, flickering between states, unable to step into the light. They spun on their heels, tearing through the thicket, branches whipping at their faces. Fear was now a vivid actor in this play of horrors, every rustle amplifying the sense of dread coiling in their chests. "Keep moving!" Max urged, glancing over his shoulder as that dark figure grew nearer, almost reaching out with shadowy limbs as if it could claw them back into oblivion. And then, just as abruptly as it had begun, everything fell silent again. The laughter, the growls, all gone. Breath escaping in shaky gasps, Emma and her friends stumbled into a small clearing, moonlight casting a serene glow. "What just happened?" Jenna panted, glancing around, her eyes wide with disbelief. "I don't know," Emma replied, confusion washing over her. "But I think we need to uncover what our families have hidden, or we might not survive this. We need answers." As if to highlight her words, a low rumble echoed through the trees, shaking the very roots beneath them. And then she saw it standing at the edge of the clearing. Its solid form now more defined was the figure from before, and beside it, another shadow lurked, waiting patiently. The next chapter of their fatal revelation teetered on this cusp, a question hanging heavy in the air. Would they have the courage to face the truth, or would they be consumed by it? Emma's breath hitched in her throat as the figure stepped into the moonlight, illuminating its form. It was a man, tall and gaunt, with eyes that bore into her soul with an intensity that made her shiver. He wore an old-fashioned coat that seemed out of place, as if he had wandered straight out of a different time. The air shifted, thickening with an oppressive weight, and the shadows around him danced eagerly, whispering secrets meant for only those born to hear. "You're drawn here by the past," he spoke, his voice raspy yet beguiling, echoing through the clearing like an incantation. "But not all who seek it will walk away whole." Max instinctively stepped in front of Emma, his hands clenched into fists. "What do you mean? What are you?" Jenna's eyes darted nervously between the new figure and the still present spectral form of Emma's grandmother. "Should we be here? This doesn't feel right." Emma could feel a tremor ripple through her body. The weight of their world teetered on the edge of something dark, and if they didn't move carefully, they might plunge into it. She looked at her grandmother's ghost, now seeming more desperate, her features contorting as if she wanted to speak, but was unable to break the invisible barrier trapping her spirit. "Speak the truth, and it will set you free," the man said sharply, as if reading her mind. "But the truth has teeth, and it bites hard. Don't toy with us," Max shot back. "We didn't come here for riddles. We need answers." "Answers come at a price," the man replied, his voice dropping to a low whisper that seemed to reverberate in the air. "What is buried in these woods is not for the faint of heart. Blood has soaked these lands, and your blood is entwined within the past's grasp." Emma swallowed hard. An insidious fear crawled up her spine. "Then tell us what we need to do. We'll face it, whatever it is." The man raised an eyebrow, a hint of amusement flickering over his shadowed face. "Face it? Or become it? The choice is yours." As he spoke, the ground beneath their feet trembled, the ancient trees shuddering as if ready to reveal their secrets. A low growl reverberated through the forest, and the creature from earlier slithered closer into view, its eyes glimmering with hunger. "We can't let it take us," Jenna whispered. "We have to go back. We shouldn't have come here." But Emma's resolve hardened. Leaving was not an option anymore. No. If this spirit feeds on fear, then we have to confront it. We cannot run. With a sudden rush of bravery, Emma stepped forward, facing the man whose presence felt magnetic yet repelling. "What do we need to do? What truth must we uncover?" The man's smile was thin, devoid of warmth. "Your family holds the key. But beware, the truth you find will shatter what you knew." As he spoke, the air turned ice cold, and Emma glanced at her friends, fear reflecting in their eyes. She could feel the weight of their lineage pressing down on her, secrets steeped in darkness flowing through veins, binding them to the very land they stood upon. The growling noise intensified, echoing through the trees, a warning, a beckoning. Emma felt her heart race, a palpable thrum in her chest. "I need to know what you're hiding, what we're hiding." The man stepped closer, leaning in as if to share a sordid secret, a glint of wickedness sparking in his eyes. "Then prepare yourself, Emma. The bloodlines do not forget, and neither does the darkness, not for those who disturb it." Before she could respond, the darkness erupted around them, an overwhelming wave that pulled them deeper into an abyss of shadow. The growl morphed into a haunting wail that resonated from all sides, drowning out their screams. Emma, Max, and Jenna were ensnared within the void, their fates intertwined with the legacy of an unseen terror, and as the world around them twisted, a single thought echoed in Emma's mind: were they ready to bear the burden of the truth, even if it meant losing themselves in the process? With the darkness closing in, her thoughts turned desperate. Would they stand united or be consumed individually? And in that moment, the forest held its breath, waiting for the answer as tendrils of shadow swept low around them, poised for a final strike. Cold fingers of darkness wrapped around them, squeezing tighter with every heartbeat. Emma felt her breath hitching in her throat as if the shadows sought to strangle her very essence. The forest transformed, swirling with unnatural energy, bending the air and twisting time. She glanced frantically at Max and Jenna. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with terror. "Stick together!" Emma shouted, her voice cracking but fierce. "We can't let it divide us." Even as she said it, an invisible force seemed to tug at each of them, a magnetic pull that threatened to drag them apart. The growl intensified, morphing from ominous to manic, surrounding them like a haunting symphony. "Emma, look!" Jenna screamed, pointing. The spirits that once lingered with her grandmother materialized, flickering like old film reels. Each was trapped in a moment of despair, their hands reaching out, mouths moving but producing no sound. "Find the truth." The gaunt man's words echoed, booming above the din of desperation. "Only then can they break free." "Break free?" Max shouted, dread pooling in his stomach. "How do we even start?" Emma squeezed her eyes shut, recalling fragments of whispered family tales, fragments her grandmother had shared during stormy nights, when the world outside felt like pure chaos. "The old oak. The one in the clearing!" she yelled. "That's where she used to take me." As if summoned by her recollection, the shadows contorted, a path revealing itself through the darkness. But before they could move, the growl shifted to a snarl that vibrated in their chests. The creature that had lurked in the shadows lashed out with unexpected fury, lunging toward them. "Run!" Max shouted, his instinct kicking in. He pushed Emma and Jenna forward as the creature's maw snapped just inches from his leg. They bolted down the path, heart racing, adrenaline coursing through their veins. The air thickened, each step heavier than the last. Sweat beaded on Emma's forehead, mixing with the smell of damp earth and decay. They darted through twisted trees, shadows reaching out like entrapping hands. Whispers enveloped them now, voices of the past spilling secrets that surged like a torrent. "Emma? The truth is in your blood." Her grandmother's voice rang through the chaos, clear yet distant. "Keep running," Jenna urged, her breath thin. They had to reach the oak. It was their only chance. Sudden silence engulfed them as they burst into a clearing. The ancient oak stood tall, gnarled branches reaching for the sky like desperate fingers. The air buzzed, an electricity that hinted at centuries of forgotten memories shimmering around its trunk. "This is it!" Emma gasped, her lungs heaving. "We need to touch it." But as they moved closer, the ground trembled beneath them, lurching like a living thing. Roots snaked up around their feet, thick and unforgiving, trapping them in place. "Your blood can free what bonds." The gaunt man's voice crackled, echoing ominously as shadows spiraled up from the ground, rising to engulf the tree. Emma's heart raced. "Max, Jenna, do you feel it?" "It's calling to us," Max breathed, eyes wide as the oak's bark shimmered, illuminating the darkness. The whispers evolved into a cacophony of urgency, and in that moment, Emma understood. They weren't just running from a creature of the night, they were being hunted for the secrets they bore. The past surged through her, vibrant memories of laughter now mingling with pain and loss. If they embraced the truth, they would either liberate their ancestors or succumb to the darkness. "Let it in!" Emma shouted, feeling the energy swell inside her, passion igniting her determination. "We can't be afraid of what we don't know." The roots tightened, scrambling for her resolve, but she fought back. With a deep breath, she reached toward the oak, feeling the ancient power pulsing at her fingertips. The shadows roared, desperate to keep her back. "Emma?" Max shouted, horror flooding his voice. "No!" With a surge of power, she pressed her hand against the tree trunk, a jolt racing through her. An overwhelming surge of memories washed over her face as she'd never known, sorrows etched into their eyes, binding them to the land. For a heartbeat, she stood at the intersection of their past and present, only to feel a rippling surge of energy as the ground beneath her shook violently. And then silence. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as shadows pulled away, revealing something else lurking behind the oak. Something larger than fear, more raw and real. "What did I just unleash?" she whispered, dread blooming like a vast suffocating darkness. The gaunt man's shadow lingered at the edge, eyes gleaming with terrible delight. "You have begun, Emma? But what awaits you next will test every thread of who you are." Emma's mouth dried, as fear lanced through her again, igniting every instinct to flee. But there was no flight now. The truth was already unfolding, and she was right in the center of it. What had she awakened? The silence was heavy, pressing down on Emma, Max, and Jenna like a weight they couldn't shake. The shadows seemed to retreat, but the emptiness left in their wake felt even more ominous. Emma could hear her heart thundering in her ears, a staccato beat of fear and uncertainty. "What now?" Max whispered, his voice taut with anxiety. He struggled against the roots binding them, panic flickering across his face. The ancient oak's bark shimmered like a portal, drawing her in with an irresistible force. It felt alive, pulsating with stories begging to be told, memories screaming for liberation. Emma's fingers tingled against the rough surface, a strange warmth radiating from it, beckoning her to listen. "Emma?" Jenna's voice trembled, breaking through the spellbinding energy. "What's happening?" "I think the tree is holding something," Emma stammered, her pulse quickening. "Maybe the truth." But there was a danger hidden in the truth. The gaunt man's warning echoed in her mind, amplifying the shadows lurking at the edges of her consciousness. Suddenly, the ground heaved violently again, and they were all thrown onto their backs. Max crashed against a patch of thick moss, and the air knocked from his lungs in a terrified gasp. From the depths of the shadows, a form began to emerge. It was a phantom, a wraith-like creature made of swirling darkness and jagged edges, its eyes two glowing white voids. It did not move like a living being, it glided, almost like a part of the air shifting around them. Emma instinctively recoiled, crawling backward until she collided with Jenna, their eyes locked in a shared panic. "What do we do?" Jenna cried, her voice a high-pitched squeak. Before Emma could answer, the wraith twisted toward them, its voice a hollow echo that chilled her bones. "You seek the truth, but the truth demands a price." Max scrambled to his feet, fists clenched defiantly. "Whatever it is, we're not afraid of you. We have to know." "No!" Emma shouted. "This isn't a game." We have to handle this together. Yet before they could hatch a plan, the wraith lunged forward, its form extending like a dark cloud. Emma felt a rush of cold air sweep through her, as if freezing time itself. Shadows enveloped them once more, and the whispers returned, familiar voices mingling with cries of despair. "Emma, help us!" The voices surged, pulling her memories taut. These were the ancestors she had unwittingly awakened, resonating with pain and confusion. They were the ones who had suffered, trapped forever in this liminal space, and it was all because of her. In that moment, she felt the weight of their sorrow, each story intertwining with her own a tangled web of griefs spanning generations. "What do you need?" Emma pleaded, desperation flooding her words. "I can help you find peace." The wraith turned, its gaze boring into her soul. "Peace comes with truth. Will you sacrifice yourself, to unravel the darkness?" An ominous silence engulfed them once more, choking off her breath. Emma could feel Max's grip on her shoulder, the heat of his body pulling her back from the precipice of despair. "I won't let you do this alone," he said, conviction lining his voice. "We face it together." Terror sank heavy in Emma's stomach. What if this costs us everything? But deep down inside she sensed a glimmer of hope. They had come too far. The shadows were not just threats, they were reminders of what had to be freed. The wraith advanced, and Emma clenched her jaw. "Then we do it. We face whatever this manifestation is." But as soon as she spoke, the ground quaked violently, splitting apart at their feet. Chasms opened wide, the darkness pulsing around them like a fierce predator ready to strike. "Emma, Jenna's terrified shout was dispersed as the veil of shadows erupted around them, filling the air with thick dread. One moment of clarity broke through the chaos. The truth danced just beyond their reach, mysterious and perilous. And then, everything went black. Emma blinked against the darkness, the other two nowhere in sight. The echoes of the past faded, replaced by a soft, menacing whisper. "You think you understand sacrifice?" Just then, Emma felt the roots tighten around her once more, but this time, they were warmer, almost human. "The awakening is just the beginning. Will you embrace it?" What horrors awaited her beyond the shadows? And how much of herself would she have to sacrifice to break the chains binding the spirits of her ancestors? The silence stretched, and Emma understood she was teetering on the edge of a revelation that could bind or destroy them all. A price must be paid. And before she could respond, the ground beneath her trembled again, an ominous reminder that time was running out. Emma's heart raced as doubt crept in. Was she prepared for what lay ahead? What would she discover in that dark maw of truth? Emma drew in a ragged breath, the air heavy with a palpable dread. The warmth of the roots wrapped around her felt almost comforting, but it was laced with something dark, something primal that warned her against trusting it. Before she could fully grasp her situation, flashes of light pierced the thick darkness. Almost like fireworks, they flickered and faded, illuminating grotesque shapes swirling around her, contorting into anguished faces. "Max! Jenna!" Emma screamed, but her voice echoed back to her, a disembodied cry swallowed by the endless void. Panic surged through her, clenching her throat. Where were they? Were they trapped in the same nightmare? The whisper returned, sharper this time, pulling her attention back to the ancient oak. Its presence loomed above her, every knot and gnarled branch seeming to pulse with sinister energy. "You must choose," the voice dripping like cold rain from an autumn sky. "Will you bear their burden alone, or will you share it, and risk losing everything? Why can't I just save us all?" she shouted, frustration boiling over. "Not all can be freed. Some are tied to their fates," the wraith replied, its voice silk slipping through fingers. "One life, or many lives." Images flickered in Emma's mind, their laughter, shared moments of friendship, all the secrets and dreams that built the bonds between them. Memories that felt light and joyful were now overshadowed by darkness. The thought of losing them sent a jolt of electricity through her. What if I refuse? A sudden gust of wind spiraled around her, yanking at her clothes, pushing against her body. Refusal brings chaos. The truth demands sacrifice, and your hesitation is but a wall to crumble. Emma felt an insistent tugging, as if the roots were urging her to move deeper into the embrace of the tree. It felt like the heartbeat of the earth itself, thrumming in resonance with her innate fear. The whispers grew louder, merging into a cacophony of ancestral cries, begging, imploring, echoing grief that had spanned centuries. Enough! She screamed against the surge, the visceral scream rising from the pit of her being. I want to be a pawn in your game of suffering. In that moment of defiance, an unearthly light exploded from the heart of the oak, blinding and burning. Emma shielded her eyes, every fiber of her being trembling in response to the otherworldly force. The light started to peel away the layers of darkness, revealing flashes of her ancestors' faces worn with the passage of time, etched with pain and sorrow. Release us, Emma. You have the power, a whisper echoed, familiar yet unfamiliar, filled with both love and desperation. The overwhelming urgency pushed against her chest, and she realized that this tree did hold the truth, her truth. She was the key, yet holding on to it might mean losing all that she cared about. Could she really sacrifice herself for their peace? Could she let go? As the light intensified, the wraith lunged, tendrils of shadow reaching out as if to snatch her back into the abyss. You have no idea what you're challenging. You tread on sacred ground. Emma could feel the warmth of the now twisting roots beneath her. It was both a comfort and a warning. The clamor of voices roared in her mind, drowning out logic. Choose now. Time is fleeting. The wraith shrieked, a hollow, echoing sound that resonated through her body. She was on the precipice of a monumental choice, one that promised either salvation or destruction. Would she embrace the truth at such a steep cost? And then, from the depths of her heart, she whispered the words she wasn't sure she was ready to utter. I'll do it. The roots beneath her flexed as if breathing, pulling her deeper into the tree's ancient hold. Suddenly, everything shifted. The shadows warped and surged, blurring the boundaries of her reality. A cacophony of sound thundered in her ears, drowning her in an overwhelming tide of shadows before it all exploded into blinding light. In that moment of brilliance, reality splintered. When the light receded, she was no longer alone. The shadows lurked just behind her, but now they seemed more like an army waiting for her command. Welcome, truth-bearer, the wraith hissed, the menace woven with a thread of curiosity. Now, what will you unleash? Emma felt their chilling gaze upon her. Was this the beginning of her own liberation, or were the darkness and shadows only an illusion masking the true horrors ahead? Feeling the weight of an eternity pressing in, Emma took her first step forward, uncertainty swirling with purpose. As she ventured deeper into the unknown, the echoes of her past whispered behind her. What more awaited her in this unsettling reality? And who or what would stand with her as the next layer of secrets unfurled? The air crackled with tension as Emma stepped into the void, shadows weaving around her like a living shroud. It felt as if every whispered word of the wraith, and the echoes of lost souls coiled tightly around her, suffocating yet electrifying. Heart racing, she could almost taste the fear in the thick atmosphere. Now, truth-bearer, the wraith hissed, its elongated features twisting into a grin, what will you do? Do you dare confront the burden laid before you? The roots beneath her feet pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat, drawing her deeper into their embrace. With each heartbeat, reminders of Max and Jenna raced through her mind, laughter at the summer fair, secrets shared beneath starry skies, and promises that seemed unbreakable. She couldn't lose them. Not now. Yet the shadows seemed to shift with a life of their own, revealing tantalizing glimpses of the truth. Images flickered like broken film reels, a vision of her friends trapped beneath heavy, dark clouds, their faces contorted with despair. Emma felt an ominous chill clawing at her spine. The tree was showing her their fate, bound within the roots entwined in this stark darkness. No! I won't let this happen! She breathed, determination igniting within her. Tell me how to set them free. The shadows twitched with anticipation, the wraith's gaze sharp and piercing. To untangle the threads of their fate, you must dive into your own heart's darkness. Sacrifice one to save many, or risk spilling all into chaos. A gut-wrenching knot formed in Emma's stomach. Sacrifice? That word buzzed aggressively in her mind. What cancelled echoes had led to this moment? With every breath, she felt trapped between the weight of her love for Max and Jenna and the fierce pull of her own freedom. "What does that even mean?" she spat defiantly. "I will save them." The wraith leaned closer, and Emma caught unsettling shapes writhing within its shadowy form, as if her command had summoned spirits of the damned. Such resolve, yet the clock ticks ever louder. Time, dear one, is not your ally. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her. It was like a heartbeat, resonating through the air, loud and powerful. Emma braced herself, her resolve firming with each echo. "I want to face this darkness. I'm not afraid of the truth." As her voice rang out, the shadows lunged forward, coiling around her limbs like ghostly serpents. The faces of her friends flickered behind them, their expressions drenched in fear and urgency. "Emma?" they cried, voices overlapping. "Help us!" The wraith let out a chilling laugh. "Face the truth, then, and prove your worth." With a surprising swell of strength, Emma tore herself from the root's grasp. "Let them go. I won't be a part of your twisted games." The shadows writhed furiously, but she found her power burgeoning within her, a force tethered to hope and love. She focused on the warmth she felt for Max and Jenna, allowing it to flow through her. If she had to dive into that darkness, she would do it willingly. After all, she had the strength of their memories entwined within her soul. With a determined shout, she reached into the depths of her heart, feeling through the turmoil of emotions, ready to confront her deepest fears. I choose to face my burdens." As the shadows recoiled momentarily, a portal of light flickered into existence, revealing layers of truth interwoven in the darkness, stars shimmering just beyond the grasp of chaos. But beyond that threshold, Emma felt a deeper pulse of transformation lying in wait. "What lies beyond this door?" she whispered, the hair on her arms rising. Was she truly ready to uncover what waited on the other side? And what would she unleash in her quest to protect the ones she loved? With her heart pounding, she took a step toward the unknown, the fissures of light beckoning her. But already, she could hear the wailing of trapped souls rising once more around her. Would she find salvation or face the dark reckoning that lay ahead? The answers were a heartbeat away, echoing in the distance. Stepping through the flickering portal felt like falling into icy waters. Emma gasped as the light swallowed her whole, its warmth contrasting sharply with the cold dread enveloping her moments before. She found herself in a new realm, colors swirling like paint on a canvas, and shadows danced around her, whispering secrets she couldn't grasp. It was chaos, yet strangely beautiful, but beneath the surface of this surreal landscape lurked an undeniable darkness. The wraith's voice echoed around her, a haunting reminder of the stakes she was playing with. "You think you understand sacrifice? You leap into unknown depths, yet your heart quakes at the truth. Show me your worth." Each heartbeat surged with a gentle warmth, as if the universe itself was charging her for the task ahead. Emma sucked in a breath, strong and resolute. "I will find them," she declared. "I will save Max and Jenna." Glancing around, she saw flares of light flitting away into the distance. Were they souls, lost in this twisted place? Curiosity crackled in her as she followed one, its glow pulsing warmly, almost calling to her. Yet doubts gnawed at her. What if stepping too far into this realm drew her closer to her own doom? But the cries of her friends drowned out her fears. "Emma? Please!" Bile rose in her throat as anguish swept over her. She ripped through the disorienting patterns of light and shadow, racing toward the sound, every pulse of energy guiding her like a lighthouse in a storm. It was more than a call, it was a lifeline. The shadows shrieked around her, tossing gusts of confusion and despair, but she pressed on. Suddenly, she burst into an open clearing, light pouring down like rain on bare skin. In the center stood a statue, broken, yet fiercely beautiful, a guardian trapped in time. A visage not unlike her own stared back at her from its cracked marble. Bones of the past coiled into the roots beneath it, as if the guardians of time had become prisoners of their own creations. "Emma," the whisper wove through the air, drawing her closer. "You must face your choices. Only then can you save them." Her chest tightened. Wraiths danced around the statue, their faces morphing into Max and Jenna's, their expressions twisted in sorrow. Just past the statue, dark figures writhed, their arms outstretched, a void of despair sucking energy from the very fabric of this world. Their cries urged her to act, but something chilling coursed through her veins. What if she couldn't save them? What if she was too late? What if I have to choose? She blurted out, desperation clawing at her throat. What if I can only save one? The statue seemed to pulse, its eyes, swirling orbs of light, radiating warmth against the backdrop of shadows. Your journey is uniquely yours. Know that love can save but can also bind. What is your greatest truth? Emma felt her pulse quicken in fear and recognition. Sacrifice was not merely a word, it was a reality. She clenched her fists. She had to face her darkness, her fears, but whom would it cost? Max? Jenna? The thought gnawed at her, leaving her paralyzed. Then a blinding flash erupted from the depths of shadows. A figure, familiar yet obscured, stumbled forward. She could barely make out the features, but the way they moved ignited in fury within her. No, she whispered, forcing herself to stand tall. I refuse to let you take them. As if summoned, a wave of shadows surged toward her, but with a fierce cry, Emma hurled herself between them and the figure, light radiating from her as if the very essence of hope wrapped around her like armor. Whoever you are, I won't let you hurt them. She screamed, the earth trembling beneath her defiance. But the figure stepped through the light, revealing itself. Emma's heart dropped, her world crumbling in that singular moment of recognition. Emma, the voice said, a dangerous melody so benign and yet so threatening. You were the one I was looking for all along. Staring at the figure before her, she felt the weight of imminent revelation. Choice hounded her footsteps, and its impact now resonated painfully in her chest. Was she ready for the truth, or had she leapt further into darkness than she could manage? Everything teetered on the edge. What choice had come to bear? The tension thickened as she braced herself to confront the impossible truth, with the fate of her friends hanging dangerously in the balance. Emma's heart raced as she faced the figure who had stepped through the veil of light. The semblance of familiarity hit her like a wave, crashing against the shore of her fears. No, it can't be, she breathed, trembling. Emma, the figure echoed, voice hauntingly soft but laced with a power that chilled her bones. With every word, a new truth unfurled, a truth that was as intimate as her very own reflection. You've come so far, yet you still don't see. The shadows behind her writhed restlessly, eager to absorb her hesitation. Emma felt Max and Jenna's warmth slipping through time and space, their muffled calls zinging through her consciousness. I won't let you take them, she whispered, steeling herself as confrontational resolve surged within her. What do you want from me? The figure stepped closer, revealing eyes that swirled with memories hers. I am you, and yet I am not. I am the desire lurking beneath your dreams, and the darkness that festers beneath your truths. Emma's breath came in short gasps. What do you mean? She fought the urge to recoil, confusion pierced her chest like shards of ice. The wraith that had plagued her suddenly loomed behind the figure, grinning malevolently. Your greatest fear made flesh, your deepest desire chained to righteousness. Can you discern who is ally and who is adversary? It hissed, reverberating around them like a whisper mixed with venom. Emma swallowed her fear, grounding herself with thoughts of Max and Jenna's laughter, their friendship lending her strength. I will choose, she said, voice steadier this time. Choose wisely, the figure beckoned softly. What is loss if ripped by truth? To save one is to forsake the other. Each word rolled over her like a plume of smoke, obscuring the air between them. Enough. Emma stepped forward, confronting the shadows. You're trying to make me afraid. You thrive on division. Her pulse quickened, a louder heartbeat thudding in her ears. But I will not let you control me. I will save us, all of us. At that moment, a blinding light erupted from within her, illuminating the darkness that clung to the corners of the realm. Shadows shrieked and recoiled, their voices dissolving into echoes of fear. In the heart of that light, visions flooded her mind, Max and Jenna laughing, their promise to stand together, every tear shed, every joy shared, and in unison, strength swirled all around her like a shield. Emma? Their voices rang out, clearer now, climbing like a wave, searching for her. "Help us!" "I will!" she cried out, her heart swelling and aching. "I choose love. I choose to break free from this torment." The figure faltered, shadows twisting and curdling around its form. To break the chains means to lose parts of yourself. Do you understand the sacrifice? Yes, Emma declared, rallying her spirit. And I'll face it. With a surge, she called forth the memories of her friends, the joy tethered in her heart binding her to them like an unbreakable cord. A fierce light emanated from her being, crashing against the shadows as a storm of power erupted. In an explosion of brilliance, the ground beneath her trembled yet again, but this time like a heartbeat echoing the rhythm of life rather than despair. The wraith writhed in agony, its form thinning like mist. "You dare to defy what has always been!" it screeched as darkness began folding into itself. And with that triumphant surge, Emma pushed harder, ready to embrace the truth that lay beyond. "Together!" she shouted. The moment of gripping fear flashed through time, revealing cracks of light amidst the depths of the shadows. The ancient oak loomed nearby, its solid form standing resolute. The semblance of her ancestors and all they had suffered was there in the swirling glow, and she understood. They were never truly shackled by their past. The shadows could be unraveled. They could liberate the truth. In a final declaration of will, Emma clasped her hands tight, shouting to the universe, "I choose to honor the past while embracing the future. I will fight, for myself, for them, and for all who were lost." The light exploded outward, intermingling with darkness, creating a storm of energy that twisted and ripped through the air, cleaving the void. Emma felt the roots pulsing beneath her, the vibrant promise of life intertwined with her soul, flickering back to memories of love and loss, clarity blossoming in the confusion. With a final echoed scream, the consumed forms of Max and Jenna materialized into view. "Emma?" Their eyes widened in recognition, smiles creeping back as they grasped her hands, grounding them both in the magic of friendship and unity against despair. "Together!" they shouted, and as they clasped the light that flowed from Emma, the remnants of shadows dissolved completely, no longer an enemy but a reminder of overcoming fear. In that pure moment of clarity, the wraith screamed one final time before disappearing, absorbed into the illuminating light that surged around them. And as if reborn, the clearing transformed, sunlight pouring through the ancient oak's branches, casting ethereal rays that sparkled. The ghosts of their ancestors smiled down, at peace at last, free from the burdens they carried for so long. "Do you feel it?" Max whispered, awed, fingers intertwined with Jenna and Emma's. "I do," Emma replied, relief flooding through her. "We did it! We freed them!" With the dawn breaking over Maplewood, the three stood hand in hand, knowing their lives would be forever changed. They had faced the darkness and emerged together. What was once a suffocating fear became a burning bright light and unyielding spirit of resilience and friendship. As the echoes of their ancestors fell silent, new whispers of hope began to fill the air, ready for the future that awaited them. As they stepped together into the light, Emma realized this was only the beginning, a new chapter unfurling in their lives. Together they would shape their destinies, woven into the fabric of a community reborn. Now, as you unravel Emma, Max, and Jenna's story and the haunting truths of Maplewood, there's one thing you must do. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive tales. Smash the like button now to fuel the algorithm. Your support matters. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Your voice is powerful, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support.